Alrighty guys, this is Michael Hayes. I hope everyone can hear me here. I'm the President CEO EP Global Communications, EPGL. Hope everyone's having a good evening. I will not make this long and drawn out. I know, 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast. So, how's everyone doing? I hope everybody's great tonight. Go over a few things here. If everyone can press star 5 at this time would be great, because that will enable everyone to hear better. So we'll give that a second for everyone to do that. If you could do that right now, 3, 2, 1, now. All right. Hopefully everyone has accomplished that, and then that'll make the listening more enjoyable for everyone. Guys, there's a lot of things we can talk about here. First of all, as always, to all shareholders who are on this call, thank you very, very much for your being a shareholder and being part of it. You've been with us really since middle of last year, early last year, when we were triple zeros, and now, as many of you know, we are have been hovering around the 4-cent range for the last few weeks, and I believe personally that we are extremely undervalued. I don't know about you guys, but and I'm gonna tell you a few reasons. So you might take a couple of notes here. Those of you just coming on, please hit star 5 as soon as you can. Star 5, thanks. There's a few issues out there. We're going to be doing some press releases on here in the next little bit. Regarding some things coming up. But there's two main issues I want to discuss tonight that I think are the most important for shareholders to realize and to know about. Number one, just today, we've learned that we've established CPT coding for the muscle pain detection device. This allows Medicare, this allows doctors and physicians all over the U.S. to bill Medicare and Medicaid. That opens the door. It's very significant because it opens the door for physicians, over 600,000 of them in the United States, to be able to bill for this device. Now, that's not to say that some physicians wouldn't bill separately on their own, but to have the Medicaid, Medicare, CPT coding for the device is absolutely huge. And so I hope all of you will think about that a little bit as we move forward here. We've launched the muscle pain detection device. Manufacturing is underway. We are taking orders as we speak in both Asia and the States, as well as we're establishing, we've actually got distribution established in the top 20 markets in the world. And our distribution partners are working the rest of the world as we speak too. But the 1-2 punch so far is the States and Asia. As a lot of you know, Singapore is handling all of Asia for us, and they've spoken up for all the first 1,000 devices because they believe that the market in Asia is so strong for this device. The Asian culture is open, as you know, to acupuncture and many forms of treatment that states doctors don't necessarily subscribe to. But the muscle pain detection device, being a device that initiates muscle pain trigger point treatment and the location where the trigger point treatment needs to occur, trigger point treatment is done with needling in a lot of cases, and sometimes needling, multiple needles utilized for the purpose of injecting steroid or lidocaine to give a permanent fix to the trigger point. The muscle pain detection device gives doctors a new way, obviously, that they haven't had thus far, to be able to find that trigger point by use of the patient telling them where it hurts, so to speak. And sometimes that can be inches, several inches away from where they're perceiving the pain. And the doctors that are using the device thus far are confirming that's happening in many, many cases. The patient comes in, they believe that the pain is in one place, the device helps them find the actual trigger point, they treat it, they've had relief, that they get relief that they haven't had before. This is helping seeing doctors, you know, I don't know how many of you read our first testimonial from our first paying customer, Dr. Kenneth Wentz, who, one of the things that he said to me was very, very instructive, and that is that because he now has more confidence than ever in the trigger point treatment area, it's enabling him and his patients to have more confidence to set up additional appointments for additional areas of the body where they're feeling discomfort. It's adding to his bottom line. He's creating a business, a profit center around the muscle pain detection device that wasn't there before. Well, this is extremely attractive to physicians to have this new business, so to speak, from the muscle pain detection device that they did not have before. And this is, of course, why Dr. Wentz accurately said that he was able to pay for his purchase within a shorter amount of time than 30 days. That's very huge. But now that we have the coding that has been added to this picture, that takes the muscle pain detection device to a whole new level of sales potential. And it's also big in Asia. It's big in other areas too, because it helps open the door for that same coding in other areas. So that's the first bit of what I would consider to be extremely huge news that shareholders should be extremely happy about, because that just made our life a heck of a lot easier when it comes to marketing the muscle pain detection device going forward. And I think you guys are going to see the results here in the next few months, in the second quarter, as we, in earnest, start to put some numbers on the board with this very first device. Now that leads into the second part of what I wanted to get into here today, and that is that the muscle pain detection device is just the first device. It's a tremendous device. Its market is huge. Obviously, $85 billion back pain market. Actually, it's probably, that was in 2009 numbers. It's probably closer to $100 billion nowadays. You know, annually. So the point being that this is absolutely a huge market, and every single doctor could utilize this device. Now, obviously, you know, that's not happening overnight. We don't have the ability to magically, you know, turn on a light switch and have every single doctor have it in their office. But we're already seeing the effects of doctors. You know, Dr. Wentz, for instance, in South Carolina, there's at least 10 docs that he knows that would like to have the device, and he was actually being a little joking around about the idea that no, he doesn't want to tell any other doctors about it because he wants all that business for himself in that area. So there's you know, a little bit of a penetration gap that happens in the markets where you'll have doctors kind of want to hoard the device, and then so it's our job as a company to get that word out. But this is just our first device. This is just the first device. Now, to me, as a shareholder, as a fellow shareholder, what's exciting to me about what's going on with EPGL, above and beyond, let's put the muscle pain detection device aside for a minute. The big thing here is the intellectual property that we have in the biomems area. And I can't emphasize enough how important that is, that you shareholders take note of what EPGL has here. We are going to get a little bit more secretive going forward here on the advice of David Marcus, PhD, our biomems expert and extraordinaire engineer. He has suggested that we probably need to be a little more careful with what we're saying publicly about what we're developing, which, you know, makes sense. But having said that, we have about 6 devices under research development stage right now. We just filed a patent today on an absolute huge, the biggest one of, well, I don't want to say the biggest one, but one of them has, they all have tremendous potential in terms of potential revenues, potential penetration in the market. The one we filed today is exciting because we know for sure that it's desperately needed by doctors right now, and it employs the BioMEMS technology that Marcus is such an expert at, and has some tremendous tricks up his sleeve that no other companies have right now, no other company, and that includes Stryker, that includes Medtronic, St. Jude, go down the list of the who's who of medical device companies. They don't have it, we do. We have David Marcus, they don't. So this is something that I ask shareholders to really absorb, comprehend what you have here. I don't think, from some of the feedback that I've gotten from some people who are out there, in the marketplace, I don't like to focus on share price as much as probably a lot of you guys would like me to, because I have to focus on building the business. I believe the share price will take care of itself if we execute on our plans. But it's important that the share price has a positive effect on your account, your brokerage account, and so in a way, we're all on the same page here. We all want to see higher share price. We all want to see higher market capitalization value as we go forward, and we want to see revenues and earnings. But one of the things that I think is extremely important for all the shareholders to realize is what we have in terms of unique intellectual property that EPGL owns that no other company has. And I'm talking about $45, $50 billion companies here. And this is no joke, guys. This is absolutely no joke. We have technology here that, in my opinion, makes our company extremely undervalued. We'll see in the market here as time elapses how that plays out. But the bottom line is that's what I think, and I think that you guys should look into it too. BioMEMS is the cutting edge of medical device technology, and we've got some killer apps here up our sleeve. And so anybody that underestimates the value or the potential of EPGL going forward is doing it at their own risk, because we've got some people on our team, as you know, and any of you, I'm hoping that all of you folks that are listening right now have gone to our website, have looked at our team members, have studied the history of the company, the unique history of the company. One thing I want to say to you guys is that we have about 700 plus shareholders right now. We have a float of about 499, 500 million shares, give or take a few million, and we have outstanding about 4.5 billion shares. Myself, Pricewaterhouse, own the majority of those restricted shares, which, if it's up to me, they won't see the light of day for a good long time. I have, we have the first right of refusal on the Pricewaterhouse shares. But the bottom line is that, in this competitive market, the most important thing is what you have. And EPGL has unique property here that no other company has, and that's the most important thing. And so when it comes to share price, we believe that this will, EPGL will find its value, but it's important to realize that as you own. So I'll take a look at the team members that we have, taking a look at all things into account, whether, that affect your decision whether to hold on to, whether to trade it, whether to accumulate more. Just from one shareholder to another, I'm not selling any of my shares anytime soon, so take that for what it's worth. Anyway, we have some really exciting things going on, obviously. Those are the two big things I wanted to cover here in terms of new news. Another thing that's kind of interesting is, maybe I'll float this out there to you guys too tonight since we're on the phone, is we are seriously thinking about holding an annual Excellent Physicians Conference. We're thinking about either LA or Las Vegas. I'd like your feedback on this. if you guys could send us some emails, give us some feedback on what you think about this. But we're thinking about having an annual conference for not only our customer physicians, but for our shareholders, everyone involved and interested in EPGL, conference once per year at a nice hotel somewhere, probably Las Vegas, where we can all get together and the doctors can go to workshops on our devices. The shareholders can rub shoulders with some of the doctors and feel a part of the company with the customers and just have a good time. So give us some feedback on that. That's something we're thinking about putting together for later on in the year, maybe middle of October, November. But we'll kind of progress on that as we go along, and we'll let you know. But I'd like your feedback on that idea because we're seriously thinking about doing that. It'd be a great marketing tool for the company, a good rapport builder for shareholders as well as customers, and of course people that aren't customers or shareholders would be invited also, but they'd have to pay a fee to attend. So we'll work all that out. So the other thing is quarter one reposted in May. So again, we'll have some announcements on some of these things. The DTC thing is getting cleared up as we speak. I know it's taken a little bit longer than a lot of other people have expected because we talked about it a while back. I apologize for that. We cleared the first hurdle, and then they had a couple of other questions regarding some of the shares that were issued back under old management. So still some of this housekeeping stuff that our council is having to deal with, but all indications are that all those issues have been answered, and now it's just a matter of literally imminently waiting here for DTC to give us an announcement that thing has been lifted, and not only is affecting, I believe, TD Ameritrade, and a couple of other smaller brokers. I don't know. It seems to me that EPGL has done fine. Small restriction on electronic deposits, but it is something that we would like to have cleared up so that all people everywhere can invest in EPGL at will, and there's a few out there that can't. But in the meantime, I would certainly suggest anyone who's got a broker that can't buy EPGL, dump that broker and get one of these other brokers that has the ability to service you fully with all the different stocks, including EPGL. Not a diss on TD American in any way, just that they're just not up to speed, and a bunch of others that we know are fine. So just word to the wise on that. But the main thing, guys, is just wanting to emphasize to you what EPGL has here. Each one of these devices under R&D, the unique intellectual property that we have, each one of them represents a potential billion-dollar market. And so, again, emphasizing that we have unique technology through our David Marcus and the rest of our team that no other company has. It's extremely important, and it makes EPGL extremely valuable and extremely undervalued, again, in my opinion. So I hope that you guys will take that, sleep on it, think about it real hard. Realize that what you have in EPGL is a company that's just barely getting off the starting mark. The gun just barely fired 2 seconds ago, and we are going full throttle. Let me see if I can think of any other overly used cliches. The starting gun has fired. The light has appeared on the drag strip. We're just barely getting started. But I know one last thing here that I wanted to also just kind of emphasize to all shareholders is this. Over 700 shareholders. I apologize, guys. I'm kind of tired tonight, and I've just been really running ragged the last few days, so I apologize if I'm meandering here, but I just had a thought. I mentioned that we have over 700 shareholders earlier, and the point being there was that EPGL has a unique situation, as a lot of you know. A lot of you have been with the company for quite a long time, and you went through all of those terrible dark days of zero bid, no trading whatsoever over the last couple, 2 or 3 years. And if not for Price Waterhouse agreeing to convert debt to equity, if not for the efforts that we've all put forth here, including yourselves, the ones who approved the restructuring, the 10-to-1 reverse split, we wouldn't be talking about EPGL today. It was going to go bankrupt. And so, but the thing that's important for everyone to remember is that prior to that restructuring, a lot of people that were in the company before were in it, and I'm included. I was in the company quite heavily. I lost a lot of money myself personally in the original incarnation. The thing that's important is to realize is that we were all in that company for, I believe we were all in it for a good reason. I was in it because I wanted to do a socially conscious investment into a company that was helping a segment of society that doesn't get a lot of attention, and that's the disabled community. Our disabled soldiers, people coming back from these wars, disabled, and the terrible impact that it has on families and these folks. And I felt that supporting that company was a good investment. I didn't know that the entirety of the debt structure, the toxic debt that they were under with NIR at that time, but the bottom line is that a lot of us shareholders that were in that company right from the start, several hundred, were in it for a good reason. And I believe that is why our shareholder base now is extremely strong, is because we are continuing to be for a good reason, because we realize that the products, the devices that we're coming out with in the future are devices that will help people. Muscle pain detection device has already helped many people gain new life that they didn't have before because of the relief that they've experienced because of the device. And this is a line of devices that we are going to come out with that will help people. And I think that the motivation to stay associated with EPGL is similar to the previous motivation, which was to support a company that's hopefully helping people in the long run. The other good thing about our restructure deal that we did last year was that we were able to keep that previous business afloat and alive. And if you go to eparent.com, you're still able to see that. And although the former management isn't affiliated with EPGL now in any way, no ownership, no control, nothing whatsoever, we still, I still want to put a word out to people that, the disabled community needs more attention, more support from all of us. I hope that people will still support that publication that we enabled former management to continue to operate. And so I think that's what makes EPGL unique, is that we have a strong base of shareholders because of that reason, and we're one of the few companies that I've ever heard of that after a reverse split, we not only stayed at the value, but we skyrocketed afterwards. That's all you really need to look at is our EPGL chart. At least our, the experts that we have that are, experts at the stock market game have told me that that's almost unheard of. It makes EPGL extremely unique that we have the chart that we do, especially after having a reverse split. So all of these things together make EPGL a completely in the market, and I hope that you shareholders will appreciate that and look at it for what it is, and take that into consideration going forward, because I think we have a lot of exciting times ahead of us in terms of return on investment and in terms of building a company that is a player in the medical device world. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. Again, thank you very much for being shareholders in EPGL. Look for, press releases on other issues coming out soon. We'll stay very communicative with all of you going forward. And again, thank you for your support, and good night to all.